protein is a really important nutrient. Just like carbohydrate and fat, it has its own functions. Unfortunately, protein can be a bit expensive. Like if you go into a restaurant, you probably find if you add a protein source like a meat or a chicken or a fish or a plant protein source, the meal gets a little bit more expensive. But there are loads of really good protein sources out there that won't break your wallet. Hi, my name is Saoirse. I'm a nutritionist and healthy lifestyle blogger from Ireland, and on this channel I help make healthy living simple because it doesn't have to be difficult. If you'd like more personalised nutrition advice, be sure to click the link below in the description box where you can get a free 45-minute nutrition consultation with me over Zoom, over the phone, over whatever you want, and we'll talk about your nutrition goals and how I can try to help you. So like I said, protein is a really important nutrient. Carbohydrate and fat are also really important. They each have their own functions, and all of these functions are really important. Protein's functions can only be carried out by protein. That's why it's so important. And it has a lot of functions. So the main ones would be the growth and repair of cells. So if you're doing exercise, you get muscle damage. And then you get protein and it repairs the muscle and it makes the muscle stronger the next time. Then you've also got that it acts as a buffer in our blood, so stops our blood getting too acidic or basic, which is pretty dangerous. It also works with fluid balance, so like water balance. You don't want too much water in your body or you'll get all swollen up. It also has a major role in structure, so your hair, your skin, your nails. Keratin is a protein that makes up your hair, your skin and your nails. If you haven't already watched my video on healthy skin, hair, nails, you'll find out more about that. It's also involved in making our hormones, our enzymes, which are involved in digestion, absorption of nutrients, breakdown, that kind of thing. It's involved in our immune system because it makes up antibodies, white blood cells, that kind of thing. So it's everywhere and we need it. But the thing is, it's not difficult to get enough. A lot of people think they need to really add in all these protein powders and high protein foods. High protein is another health claim now. A lot of manufacturers put on foods to get people to buy them. People think if they go on a diet that's high protein, that's going to make them lose weight anymore. It's basically reducing your calories that will make you lose weight. You get 4 calories per gram of protein, exactly the same as 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate. You get 9 calories per gram of fat, but that's because it's more energy dense. So yes, protein's important. We need it, but you don't need to go crazy with it. You don't need to go out buying these really expensive protein powders. Also, protein powders can be a bit dangerous because depending on where you get them, if you don't get them from a very reputable source, you could be eating anything. They could put anything in it, from rat poison. I'm not even joking. So you need to be careful if you are taking protein powder. It's really safer to get protein from your food, in my opinion anyway. The amount of protein you need fully depends on your weight, and that can be calculated quite easily. So you should be getting 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So if you work that out, that will give you how much protein you should be taking. Now, if you're an athlete or somebody who's really active, you will need to take more protein because you're going to be needing more muscle regeneration. So about 1.2 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight if you're a serious athlete. If you're somebody who goes to the gym a couple of times a week, I don't really think you need that much extra protein. So that's how you calculate how much protein you need. The first food I'm going to talk about is eggs. Eggs are really inexpensive. They're really versatile. You can do so much with them. And per like one large egg, there's about 6 grams of protein, which is a lot for one egg. And the protein is in the egg white. So if you eat the egg white, you're getting the protein, but don't leave out the yolk, because even though the yolk is where the fat is, the yolk is also where the fat-soluble vitamins, so your vitamin A, D, E, and K are, and they are so important as well. So just eat the whole egg. Having an egg for breakfast or tea or something like that, it is a great way. Add in some carbohydrate there and like a veg or fruit source, you've got a full meal. Beans are a great source of protein and fibre and loads of vitamins, and they're also really inexpensive. Now, I'm not just talking about baked beans, although one like cup or 250 grams of baked beans, that's normal baked beans, is about 14 grams of protein, which is a lot of protein. So they're great. And then you've got edamame beans, which are like a soya bean, and about a cupful of them, so 150 grams of them, would give you 17 grams of protein, which is loads. And then you've got black beans, which are also in a can, you find them, and a cupful of them, which is 172 grams, will give you a massive 15 grams of protein. So all of those, like any beans at all, are great sources of protein, great sources of fibre. They're like long shelf life, so you can buy them in bulk. You can use them in anything. So obviously baked beans, they're baked beans, you know what to do with them. But then like edamame beans and black beans and any other beans, white beans, cannellini beans, you can put them in casseroles, you can put them in soups, you can put them in stews, you can put them in with your spaghetti bolognese, like mix it up with the mince. You won't know they're there because they generally don't have a very strong taste. They tend to soak up all the moisture, so you'd put them in things, that's why you put them in soups and stews and casseroles, because they soak up the moisture and they soak up that flavour. They'll add that extra fibre into your dish, which is always great, and they'll also give you that protein. So beans are a great source of protein. Then you've got your canned fish. So canned fish is great if you maybe can't afford the fresh fish, or like fresh fish is great if you're going to eat it on the day, but it doesn't last very long in the fridge. You end up putting it in the freezer and then you forget about it. But like canned fish is just as good, and actually canned fish will give you that calcium and vitamin D as well. So tuna and salmon, say, so a can of tuna, 3-ounce can of tuna, will give you 20 grams of protein. And then a 4-ounce can of salmon will give you 26 grams of protein. That's loads of protein. And you're getting your omega-3 in there as well, and your vitamins and minerals. Really inexpensive. I'd say like one can of tuna, what costs like €1, €1.50. Same with the salmon. So really inexpensive. You can buy them in bulk. Once again, they have a long shelf life. You don't need to store them in a fridge. And yeah, they're a great alternative if you just don't really want to buy fresh fish because you don't think it's going to be eaten, you think it might end up being thrown out, or you just want to cut back on your shopping bill. Greek yogurt is also a great source of protein, and it's also a great source of probiotics, so for the good gut bacteria. So one pot, like 225 gram pot, about 8 ounces, would be 17 grams of protein. Now obviously different brands might be slightly different, but in general Greek yogurt and other yogurts as well, any dairy, is a great source of protein, and it's normally not that expensive. Cottage cheese is also a great source of protein. Like I said, any dairy, so any cheese really, but cottage cheese particular, just to show you, 1 cup would be over 26 grams of protein, which is a lot of protein. You can use the full fat version or the low fat. There might be slight difference in protein, but not that much. Lentils are great, so 1 cup of lentils, about 200 grams, would be about 19 grams of protein, which is also loads. So great if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, making sure you get that protein in there. You can also use lentils in things like stews and soups and all that as well. So You just need to look up recipes that have lentils in them if you're not used to using them. Make sure you read the instructions on how to cook them. You need to wash them and that kind of thing. But they're a really good source of protein. They're not expensive and they have a general long shelf life on them as well. These foods that have long shelf lives, you can buy them in bulk. And when you buy things in bulk, it's usually less expensive in the long run than buying them like all the time as well. And you're also less likely to have to throw them out because they've gone out of date, which is a big drawback because you don't want to waste food either. Nuts and seeds are also great sources of protein. So things like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, almonds, 1 ounce of any of those would have about 6-7 grams of protein in them, which like 1 ounce is quite small. So that'd be a great snack alternative if you are trying to get more protein into your diet. Chicken breast is usually what we go for, but if you go for the chicken thigh or the chicken fillet, they're usually less expensive, but they still have just as much protein. So like a normal 100-gram serving would be about 28 grams of protein when you use the chicken thigh or the chicken fillet. So it's the same with any cut of meat really, even red meat. If you use the less expensive cuts of meat, it's not usually not really affecting the nutrient content at all. You might have to cook them differently, like especially red meat. I like cheaper cuts usually take longer to cook, but like that could be a good thing. You could use that to your advantage. You could use your slow cooker if you have one, or you just like throw it in there and leave it for overnight, and then you'll have a really tender meat then the next day. And you're still getting your protein, which instead of spending more money on like a fillet steak that you can cook in a couple of minutes. So think about it that way as well. Ask your butcher. Your butcher will know how to cook these cuts of meat. And yeah, so just because it's less expensive doesn't mean it has less nutrients in it. Then milk is also a great source. So I know I said dairy 3 times already, but a glass of milk, 250 ml glass of milk will give you 8 grams of protein. It pretty much will give you most of your calcium, required calcium intake for the day as well. And like, if you can't have dairy, that's not the end of it. Like, there's loads of calcium rich foods out there that don't have dairy in them. But having a glass of milk is naturally low in fat anyway, even the full fat milk. I think 1 glass of full fat milk has only about 3 or 4 grams of fat in it anyway. So milk is great if you can drink it. If you can't, it's not the end of the world. There's loads of alternatives out there. Peanut butter is also a great source of protein. Like I said, with the nuts and all, it's a great spread on bread or rice cakes or like cracker breads or anything like that, and topped with a bit of fruit or something like that. You can get whole grain peanut butter or you can get smooth peanut butter, and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter will give you 8 grams of protein. So it's also a great protein source. I hope you liked this video and I hope it gives you some useful information. If you did, please give it a like and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you later. Bye.